So, today is January 1st in 2020, and we're about to start this adventure off in a new country.
We arrived in Cuba late the night before. After spending a scheduled 12-hour layover in Toronto, we were fairly tired by the time our plane touched the ground at 11:50 that night. The welcoming, tropical weather made it for a pleasant walk. Cuba is unlike any place I've ever been. The streets are practically bare. In fact, you'll only see about 3 types of transportation around Cuba's biggest city: horses, Russian cars, and of course, the American classics. Despite being warned about the crowded conditions on the public transit system, we couldn't turn down the 30-cent fare for a 30-minute ride. Getting off the bus, we decided to tour the area surrounding the Via Azul bus station, the place we needed to be at for an 11-hour overnight bus ride across the island.
How's Cuba so far? Hot. What's the problem? You haven't found any water yet?
Not yet, since last night. That's my voice like this. I catch a cold.
Uh-oh.
Joshua gave me.
Let's get some water then, shall we?
Shall we? Why not? Cuban and I forgot. Not margarita. Mojito.
There you go.
Here we go. Let's go.
So we have successfully made it to downtown Havana now. We have found the place we want to be, and we have been walking around now for a little while. We grabbed a bite to eat. We have stocked up on a bit of water. Although being New Year's Day, things are closing really early, so right now we're in the hunt for some more water. So we're trying some side streets because a lot of the stuff on the main streets are closing, and we're hoping we're going to come across something where we can just grab a bit of water. Because I did something really bad, and I passed on the cold that I had just before this trip to Akane, and now she is feeling the wrath of that. So, but the good news is there's a cat, and that'll make Akane feel good no matter how bad she's feeling. I find it so amazing that you can have these like 4, 5, 6 lane roads, and there's like a motorbike on them. Just the one. I don't know if that's because of the holiday or because that's just how it is, but pretty wild scene.
As it turned out, holiday or no holiday, the streets of Cuba are often bare. You see, private transportation is a luxury here. With limited trading with other nations and relatively low wages, Cuba is a poor country. As a communist country, the majority of income a person makes is highly regulated by the government, and those that have personal vehicles often do so by having a side hustle. It's a reality here in Cuba, and I don't fault the people for wanting to try and get ahead in life. It's Cuba's diversity that separates it from other countries I've been to. Looking at Cuba's history, we'll look back to the original indigenous community. Since about 4000 BC, the island was inhabited by the Taino people. They lived peacefully in this Caribbean gem until the Spanish arrived in the 15th century. The island remained in control of Spain until the Spanish-American War of 1898, despite the efforts of Jose Marti, one of the first Cubans to attempt a revolution to free Cuba from Spanish control. With the signing of the Treaty of Paris, Spain and America ended the war, with the U.S. taking partial control of the island. Cubans saw Jose Miguel Gomez become president, but under the watchful eye of the U.S. During this time, the nation saw fewer problems than neighboring islands. The wealth of the nation began to grow, and the focus on its military began to dwindle. It wasn't as perfect as it seemed, however. At the same time the nation saw some growth, it also saw corruption, violence, and political instability get worse, even with the new Cuban president and military dictator Batista in charge. By 1952, doubts began to rise about the Cubans being able to govern themselves, despite Batista being backed by the US military. As tensions within the country grew, Fidel Castro, a charismatic man who had no intentions of allowing the USA to take over, came to the limelight. By 1956, Castro has amassed an army and began its assault. With more and more Cubans standing behind Castro, the US military withdrew their military aid to Batista in 1958. 1 year later, in 1959, Castro led an army of over 9,000 soldiers into Havana, forcing Batista to leave. Castro became the prime minister, his brother Raul the deputy, and Guevara his third in command. Today, the liberation of Cuba is still very much in the forefront of the minds of the people here. Evidence of Jose Marti and Fidel Castro can be seen scattered throughout the country in the form of artwork, murals, and what others will refer to as propaganda. For many, thanking Marti and Castro for their country's freedom is a way of life, the same way many places like the United States honor those who serve its military. Perhaps the largest monument to the country's freedom can be found at the Plaza De La Revolucion, measuring 72,000 square meters. It's the 31st largest city square in the world. Perhaps the first thing you'll notice is the giant 109-meter or 358-foot tower known as the Jose Marti Memorial. Opposite to this memorial, you can find two of the most photographed buildings in the country. Owned by the Ministries of the Interior and Communications, these guarded buildings showcase the faces of two of the most important of the Cuban Revolution, Ernesto Guevara and Camilo Cienfuegos. The building showcasing the face of Guevara reads the following quotation, "Hasta la victoria siempre," which means onward to victory. The building showcasing the face of Cienfuegos reads the quotation, "Vas bien, Fidel," meaning "You're doing fine, Fidel." Today, this heavily touristed location serves as a meeting point for locals offering tourists a taste of Cuba, with their brightly colored treasures from the American past. Tourists can hire these cars for a quick spin around the city, often getting a bit of a history lesson as they go. For us, this location was a perfect stop as we waited for our overnight bus. Suffering from her cold, Akane enjoyed the square for more than just its sights, as it offered the perfect place to sleep for my tired traveling companion. As we watched the cars past, we thought about what the other side of the island would be like. Would the city of Holguin be like Havana, or would it be unlike anything else we've seen so far? For us, only the 11-hour bus ride would tell us that. And with that, we had to say goodbye to the 2 million people who called the city home. We would catch up with them later though, as we would spend another 3 days in the city later on in the trip. Learn more about our adventures within Cuba by visiting our website at joshuatravelguy.ca. Be sure to share this video, because together we can share the world.